Did you know that St. Luke's University Health Network, based in the Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, has been recognized by the U.S. government as the highest performing health system in the United States for quality? You heard right. St. Luke's #1 recognition affirms our status as the top leader among the most respected healthcare providers in the nation, including Houston Methodist and the Mayo Clinic. To state it simply, if you want to receive the best care when you go to a hospital, come to St. Luke's.
Katz and Cosby, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And let's go to Professor Dershowitz. And Professor, let's pick it up sort of where we just left off with KT. On the legal side, some big news today. Supreme Court saying it's going to allow U.S. companies to seize assets in Cuba. This is a biggie during the revolution. Think about how many people had their assets seized by Fidel. And the U.S. Supreme Court is saying, yeah, you can go ahead. What do you think of this?
Well, I think it's terrific. I have friends. I live in Miami much of the year, and I have a lot of Cuban friends, and they are thrilled because many of them had to leave everything behind, and they had to escape, and some of them didn't make it, and some of their relatives were killed in that big stadium. And I'm also thrilled that there's been an indictment against this mass murderer who ordered the killing of innocent people in an airplane. So, I think everything's turning around in Cuba. Let's remember that the Cuban people want peace and they want business. So do the Iranian people. That's the irony. The Iranian people want to make peace with the United States and with Israel. The Iranian people are more pro-Israel than many of the other citizens of the Gulf states. It's just their leaders. Now, Israel bumped off a bunch of their leaders, but now they've been stopped. And I worry that if President Trump doesn't continue and go forward with this, we may be ending up in a worse position than we were in before the war. But I'm hoping that President Trump will do the right thing and continue the military action, allow Israel to continue the military action, and create a situation where regime change from within is possible without a single American boot on the ground. I think that's a realistic possibility, but it's not going to come from a phony deal, which Cuba is going to break. Which Iran is going to break immediately.
Judge Weinberg.
Alan, good to talk to you again. I want to shift your attention. You have a candidate for Congress in the 35th District in Texas. She's in a runoff, and she's announced that what she wants to do is she wants to round up the so-called American Zionists and bring them into camps, internment camps.
Well, what she ought to do is immediately get the help of Liz Warren. Liz Warren will probably go to Texas and campaign for her the way Liz Warren campaigned for the Nazi who's running in Maine. She got on a train or a car. She crossed state lines. She went up to Maine, and she said about a Nazi, quote, "my kind of man, my kind of man." And I'm sure she would say about this woman in Texas, "my kind of woman." Look, if you take seriously the way she's endorsed candidates, she would have gone to Germany in 1932, where Hitler was saying, "I'm going to help the economy. I'm going to help poor people. I'm going to increase minimum wage." And she would probably say, he's my kind of man. She is so single-minded. All she focuses on is her economic issues. Doesn't matter that these guys are Nazis, they're anti-Semites. And, I've known Liz Warren for, 35 years. She is not a nice or decent person. And she represents the state of Massachusetts in the Senate.
Professor Dershowitz, I got to tell you, a couple moments today I was watching, she's being cornered by the media, Elizabeth Warren, about now some of these new statements from this Graham Plattner, which just get worse and worse. I mean, first he's like vilifying Jews, he's vilifying police officers. So she's asked today, and she's ignoring the cameras. In other words, hoping it's going to go away, but not withdrawing her endorsement.
So is Hakeem Jeffries. He's ducking it, too. Hakeem Jeffries is ducking it, too.
And Schumer.
Yes, the only time I've ever seen Liz Warren quiet. Ever.
Yeah, exactly. Me too. It was like suddenly she had like a fly was on the wall elsewhere, and she had to go follow it.
But even Schumer won't do the right thing. The only couple of people who do the right thing in the Democratic Party, but most of them don't. And that's why I quit the party. I can't be in a party with Nazis. I can't be in a party in which the largest number of vote in Texas goes to somebody who wants to put Jews in concentration camps. I mean, sure, the other Democrats say they're going to expel her from the Senate if she gets elected, but the fact that she got more votes than any other Democrat shows you something about where the Democratic Party is going.
Yeah, it definitely does. Well, we have a Democrat here. We've got Governor Patterson.
Alan, do you think that this woman has a chance to win in the runoff?
You never know. It's a weird district, and
because the district sort of was moved, wasn't it?
Huh? Say it again?
The district actually was moved, wasn't it?
Yeah,
parts of it. Yeah,
and it doesn't have a history, and she got the most votes running against decent people. Just like Planner is running against the most moderate Republican in the United States Senate, a moderate Republican, and people think he may win the election. If I'm not mistaken, I think maybe the Republican senator from Maine may be the only member of Congress in all of New England who's a Republican.
Yes, it is correct. Susan Collins. She is. She is the only one.
Massachusetts are all Democrats. Some of them crazy, radical Democrats. Some of them decent Democrats. The best Democrat who ever was from Massachusetts died yesterday. My friend Barney Frank, who I've known since he was 16. I was at his 16th birthday party.
I love Barney, by the way.
I go back with Barney. And by the way, I had no idea he was gay. He came up to me on a plane one day before he announced and said, "Alan, I'm coming out." I said, "Of what?" I had no idea what he was talking about. No, Barney was a great guy. And he was trying to move the Democrats to the center. His most recent book, which will be published in September after the midterms, unfortunately, says the Democrats can only win if they move to the center, even though, he's a very strong liberal. I gave the first fundraising party for him when he ran for Congress. I was one of the first people to call him and tell him to run. I was a very close friend of Bob Drinan, Congressman Drinan, Father Drinan, a priest, who was the representative from that district. And so when Bob Drinan was instructed by the Pope that he couldn't be a member of Congress and a priest and decided to be a priest, I called Barney and got Barney to run. And then Joe Kennedy took over his spot. And Joe Kennedy would have been a great candidate, but he was defeated by a non-entity, Markey, who has never done anything in the Senate at all. So, the Democrats just constantly shooting themselves in the foot.
It's a mess. Well, Professor Dershowitz, we love you. It's always great to have you here and get your wisdom. We appreciate it.
Good.
Thank you.